Hello world, my name is Richard. My microphone is not working, the plug-in one, so I'm sitting close as usual. I hope you can hear me. So the Nazis weren't human. This is my contention. I actually know to be true to some extent, but I can't prove it as usual. So this is my evidential argument, speaking as an amateur anthropologist. Yeah, really amateur. So the main point is that the guys were really nasty. We know that from historical record. Torture, many people, crushing and spirits and beatings and God knows what, all this sort of shit. And my view is that was exceptional for human behaviour. Now, it's fair to say there were bad behaviours before, like the Romans, the ancient Romans were barbarians, barbaric bastards, bloodthirsty, gut-wrenching, really nasty. Yeah, the gladiators and all that stuff just shows how nasty they were. Really quite brutal they were, apparently. And disgusting shit happens. Yeah, and then there's the Mongols and people like that who conquered lands and as in warfare weren't too kind in the process. But I think those are exceptions really. If you look at the overall long-term history, the Nazis were truly different. They're on a different scale, different league altogether. And now I notice their behaviour, or that behaviour, in other countries. In particular, Israel, ironically, which to be clear is in my view, a non-Jewish state, obviously mostly Jewish, obviously, but there's also Arab types in the IDF, I believe, and plenty of Jews around the world who are not Israeli. So my view is beef with Israel in particular, and the IDF, and the monstrous activities in Gaza, the slaughter, and the disgusting reports of children being shot by snipers on purpose and so forth, and just horrific crimes. Any Nazis were pleased with that behaviour. That's my view. And then Russia, also brutal. My God, from what I can tell, that people living there, they seem to accept it. They have a history of liking a strong leader. It's kind of ingrained in their culture, and they're born into it, so that's the way they get to be. That's human nature for you. If you're born into a culture, that's the way you get to be. It's that simple. But people don't get to see other cultures, they don't get the best message really. But it's true of our society. If you're born into a wealthy wanker culture in the south, the deep south, you'll get to be a wealthy wanker. That's almost inevitable. You get to be a fascist thug type arsehole who knows bugger all and has more money than sense and does lots of damage in the process. It's just a fact of life. True of any culture, if you get to be wealthy, you get to be corrupt. It's human nature, sadly. I don't know quite why it is, but these people are inherently very weak, I think. That's the only way to get to be corrupt by that stuff, by money, is to be inherently weak yourself, like scared shitless or something. Not quite sure what that is. Anyway, I think the Nazis are still around. I know there are some nasty beings that I do know who aren't human and who can take human form, that I do know. Again, I can't prove it, but I do know it from experience. And I also know from accounts that not all the Nazis are actually human. Just nasty. And it makes sense for me to consider that there's what might term alien species around. That makes sense of the world's history much more than just the human history could ever do. Because these Nazis are so bloody fucking evil. They were really exceptional. They might have been around for a long time, for centuries, a thousand years, messing things up, that's also true. But to be explicitly evil in human form, that's new, or was at the time, I think. You know, who knows about the Romans? They were quite nasty too. So maybe they were also I'm just guessing, but you know, maybe, given the brutality and the stuff they got up to, apparently, maybe they were kind of not quite human. It's hard to tell, it really is, and hard to believe for many people. I get that, but it's not just me saying it. Thank God, it's not just me saying this stuff. Not so much about the Nazis, but by the alien beings. That there's many people reporting that, many. So, yeah, I think Nazis were human. And, by the way, a lot of them went to the USA via Operation Paperclip. A lot did. Wernher von Braun, one of the top people, rocket scientists, he went. Open arms, no questions asked, about 100,000 people he killed on his watch. Apparently. In American culture, crushed the government. And now we got Hesketh openly saying, kill these poor buggers on the boat who are clinging to the boat for dear life. They're a threat to us. What threat of people who are clinging on the boat for dear life? What you do is, if you're really, really cruel, you just let them drown. Or if you've got any humanity, you pit them and capture them and take them prisoner. But to kill them when they're hopeless, And he calls himself Christian. I have serious doubts about that myself. Serious doubts. By the whole administration. In the USA, in Russia, and in the UK, serious doubts. So I'll leave that with you, and wish you well until next week. Bye.